Thank you for joining us today and joining us for the updates and potential changes to the prevailing wage rules from NJEDA. This is a listening session. To go over the quick rules of the session, we will be allowing folks to submit comments. We may not be able to answer questions. However, if you put in your comments into the Q&A feature of Zoom, then we will make sure to record that comment. So this is just explaining the fact that this is a listening session, and it is required when we do updates to our rules to make sure that there is adequate time for public comment. And that is what this session is doing, in addition to the ability for you to submit comment online through our online portal about any of your thoughts and recommendations regarding these rule changes. We do ask that you put any of those comments that you have regarding these presentation and the potential changes to the rules into the Q&A feature. And that way we will make sure that that is recorded and considered going forward. We will also have a chance at the end of today's session to ask verbal questions as well. And I will make sure to revisit these rules at the end of the time there. Folks are only permitted 3 minutes to speak so that we can make sure we hear from everyone. And we do ask that you keep any comments related to today's presentation and the potential rules that are being discussed. So with that, Lorena Garcia is our Director of Labor and Compliance, will be taking you through the substance of today's session. Lorena?
Thank you, Caitlin. About the NJEDA prevailing wage rule amendments. These rules act as a floor consistent with the authority's enabling statute. The amendments to the existing prevailing wage rules are proposed to bring rules up to date with all statutory changes that have occurred during the past decade, including the Economic Development Redevelopment Act, the Public Works Contractor Registration Act, and the New Jersey Prevailing Wage Act. NJEDA prevailing rules amendments. Building services. These proposed rules now include building services, which is defined as any cleaning or routine building maintenance work, including but not limited to sweeping, vacuuming, floor cleaning, cleaning of restrooms, collecting refuse or trash, window cleaning, securing, patrolling, or other work in connection with the care and securing of an existing building. Building services shall not include any maintenance work, professional services, or other public work for which a contractor is required to pay prevailing wage. Construction work. These proposed rules identify factors that the authority may consider when determining if an activity is construction work. These factors may include physical changes to a property, equipment installation activity, property maintenance or repairs, environmental work, where the activity is undertaken to qualify the applicant, property, or project for authority financial assistance, and any other factors as the authority may deem appropriate. Payments of prevailing wages in projects receiving authority financial assistance. These proposed rules aim to clarify the applicability of prevailing wage requirements to contracts associated with authority financial assistance. It is important to note that prevailing wage rules do not apply to contracts with a value less than the prevailing wage contract threshold amount. Generally, prevailing wage requirements do not apply to construction work commencing more than 2 years after the authority provides financial assistance approval. Generally, prevailing wage requirements do not apply to subgrants awarded by entities receiving authority financial assistance, nor to contracts primarily focused on non-construction activities. Payment of prevailing wage, landlord exception. Contractors working on funded projects by the authority must pay prevailing wages to their workers unless exempted as outlined below. Generally, the projects receiving EDA financial assistance, prevailing wage requirements do not apply to construction work performed directly by a landlord. However, there are specific thresholds at which prevailing wage applies depending upon the percentage of leased space. Assurances required. Upon completion of each construction contract, the contractor or landlord must submit all documentation requested by the authority and a completion certificate. The completion certificate verifies that one, all involved parties are registered with the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development as required by the Public Works Contractor Registration Act. And two, all parties have complied with the authority's prevailing wage rules, including any specific conditions of the applicable authority financial assistance program and the agreement approval letter. Upholding prevailing wage. The proposed rules establish a clear enforcement mechanism upholding prevailing wage requirements in authority-funded projects. Any violation of the prevailing wage rules on a project funded by the authority financial assistance may constitute a breach of relevant statutes, rules, and agreements approval letter. The authority is obligated to report violations to the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development for appropriate action. Upholding prevailing wage. Authority enforcement measures. In addition to any sanctions imposed by the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development, the authority may take the following actions in the event of a violation: withdrawing, suspending, terminating, recapturing, or requiring repayment of any authority financial assistance provided, forfeiting all or some of the awarded tax credits, implementing any other legal remedies available to the authority under its agreement with the recipient of authority financial assistance. The authority may also refer violations to other relevant government entities for further action. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Lorena. Uh, so if folks have particular thoughts about how these rule changes, these updates should be made, any thoughts regarding those, you can certainly put them in the Q&A feature, and we will make sure to record those comments accordingly. And additionally, if you have anything you would like to say verbally, you can utilize the raise your hand feature. One of the best ways and alternative ways for folks who may not be on today's session live is to go to the portal where we are collecting public comments through tomorrow, August 1st at 5 p.m. That website is up on your screen, and I will drop it in the chat as well. So we'll give folks just a moment to see if they would like to share anything using that raise your hand feature or in the Q&A. There, I do not see anything currently. That link is in the chat now. Folks want to click on that. You're welcome to share that, but just please do make a note that the deadline for those types of comments do need to be made by 5 p.m. tomorrow, August 1st. All right. I do not see anything else. Any comments that are coming in through this method? So if there's any last words that you'd like to share, Lorena, please feel free.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.